I love the Brave engine. I love Griffin. I love the whole idea that you are building your field around this token that is also important. I do not love what the Brave engine has done to the format with the Hockey Firebrax combos, or like the Vert Anaconda stuff with DPE, or with Dagda or Scythe. So I'm actually summoning Griffin. We're going to use him as a negate on the opponent's turn. I actually won a winner box today with this deck list. I played a similar deck yesterday and lost in top 4, so I made a few changes. But yeah, here's my Tri-Brigade Brave P.U.N.K deck list. So just for the main deck, so we play 2 copies of Griffin Rider, triple copies of Enchantress, triple copies of Rite, the 1 Fateful Adventure, and then the 1 Draco back. And then I guess like this is almost like a tricard as well. It's just basically just a 4th Enchantress. So I think this is just a touch bigger than like the bog basic version, which is just like without the second Griffin. I quite like Griffin in this, especially because it means that you can use Adventure to search for a tri-type for you to be able to discard and like summon Keras, which is quite cool. Also, just like in grind games, like the second one does just come up. Honestly, I think I want to play multiple Fateful Adventures. I think this card's like insane. The only reason this card is actually bad to draw is because you play one of it, and I think just by playing a second one, it just takes away that issue. But obviously, Foolish is where you can use on other cards except for the outside of the Water Enchantress. So for the Tri package, this is like almost max, I guess. So it's like 3 Nerval, 3 copies of Kit, 3 copies of Keras, who is the most important one because this is the one that like you can play with under Rite, because Rite stops using the effects of normal summon monsters, and then 3 Fractal as well. So like the whole idea with all of these is they are either Keras or they get you to Keras. I even play 2 copies of this card and 1 P.U.N.K. So this card basically says that if it's sent from the field to the grave, you get to set this card out of your deck, and then this will get to Fractal, which will eventually get to a Keras. So like the whole idea with like playing like so many of these names is that you need to find Keras and you need to find something to discard for it. So yeah, that's like the Tri part of the deck. Oh, and then obviously we play 1 Revolt as well, just to search off the bedroom. It is important to note that when you are like setting up Revolt in this deck, because this is a deck that keeps Griffin on the field and passes on the Griffin. So obviously you have the token, you have the Griffin, and then you'll usually have a 3rd monster in your main monster zone. So it's either going to usually be DDL or it'll be Naturia Beast. So you have to make sure that when you are setting up your Revolt for that, that you're factoring in that you only have 2 zones to play with before you use Griffin. There are quite a few lines where you can you can hard make Rugal with the Ferrigit and like another monster just to put Rugal into the grave, so that you can Revolt for Charade with just 2 zones. So it's not too much to worry about. You just have to be aware of it. And then for the last like engine, it was just Punks. So today I played 3 copies of Foxy, 2 ZM-in, and then 3 E-Telly. So I think like yesterday I played 3 Foxy, 2 ZM-in, and 3 E-Telly. Which was way too much for what I wanted to do with this engine. But I only ended up cutting 1 Foxy. But I think realistically I want to cut 1 ZM-in and then play like 2 of this, 1 of this, and then 3 of this. The reason is just simply because these are the cards that let you make a Naturia Beast, right? And then now, because I'm playing Ghost Ogre in the main, which I didn't play yesterday, E-Telly is fine to have in your hand, even once you've gone through this, because then it just becomes like almost like a trap card. But yeah, I think like that ratio is probably fine. The second one is probably a little bit too much. I found myself siding out the second copy a lot. And then what is cool is that Foxy just so happens to be a beast, so you can discard this for Keras. So like usually what will happen, so just to explain like how this engine works. So you're going to use Foxy and you're going to send like Nerval, and then that will summon the ZM-in from your deck, and then the effect of your Nerval will trigger to get you Keras. You can then activate the effect of your ZM-in, and then you can add your second copy of Foxy, and then you can discard the Foxy to summon the Keras, and then you can use Keras to banish these, usually to summon DDL, just like when you're looking at it in a vacuum. So you're going to banish 2 to summon the DDL. And then you can simply just synchro these 2 into Naturia Beast. So that's sort of like how these interact with one another. So yeah, but obviously that is pretty weak. Like you always want to get to like the adventurous stuff before anything else, to be honest, just simply because of how strong those cards are individually. And then the last cards are just 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and 3 copies of Droplets. I'm playing these ones specifically because I didn't have a lot of room for a lot of going second cards, and I think that if you don't have a lot of room and you don't want to play like much more than 40, I think it makes sense to play these 6 specifically, because these feel like the highest impact cards, like individual cards in this format, to be honest. But even then, they don't even feel great, which sort of outlines the problem with this format. And then for the extra deck, so we play Armorage just for the Raven and the Kit and Nerval, and then we got double copies of Ferrigit. We got 1 copy of Air Room. Honestly, this should be a 2 of maybe in this deck, because there are actually some combo lines where you summon one to use the discard effect, and then you'll summon a second one, and then you don't want to use the effect of the one that you've just linked off, because like you do have to like make sure that you have like hard mode monsters to be able to revolt people, and that's why like that's where the second one comes up. But like the second effect of this card is like pretty strong in like this version of the deck, because you're always protected by Griffin, so like you don't have to like feel bad about doing that. DDL, who is on a lot of boards, Conductor for the stupid side deck card, Rugal, which is something that like, I did mention that you have to try and like weave into your first turn combos so that you can revolt with 2 zones. Unicorn, just because I wanted some more removal that I could use under Lancia, so like DDL for example, well if he's already there you can use him under Lancia, but outside of like, so you would DDL and you got Shrag, and you can't use them if you're under Lancia, but like you can make this. And then we got 2 copies of Shrag. I don't think the second one came up at all, but I think 2 is like fine, just because one of them is probably going to be for revolt, right? And then like on the second turn you might want the second one to be able to like just confirm the game basically. We've got Appaloosa, which is just very standard in this deck. We've got Borosaur Dragon. This should just be access code, I just didn't have time to find one in the morning. And then we play Naturi Beast, which is like the big incentive to play like the P.U.N.K cards. And then I played Baron. This is like, you only make this in bad hands basically, so this is just going to be like Xiamin plus Griffin for example. In fact, if you cut Xiam into 1, I think you can actually cut this card, to be honest, unless you want to keep it in there just for like Ghost Ogre plus Griffin. But yeah, I got 1 more card for the extra deck, which was Omega, which I did not summon once because I actually put this card in my extra deck this morning so that I didn't forget it in case I put Gamma in, and then I actually just didn't side or main the Gammas, which I wanted to put into the deck. So like, this card was actually useless. So this can either be Doomed Eagle Harassvalga, or it can be like your Bear Broom, like your second Bear Broom if you do want to play the second. And then just quickly for the side deck, I sided 3 copies of Lava Golem because we are already trying to pull off some pretty ambitious plays without using a normal summon. So this card just made perfect sense. I played 3 Drollable Upbird, which didn't really make any sense, I don't think. I wanted this in my deck for the local beforehand because I know there were a lot of people there that like the Flunder deck. But today this card really did just sort of like underperform. To be honest, I think you could probably just go like Lava Golem 3 Sphere mode and I think like that'd be fine. But yeah, this was like fine, I guess. Like this is just a flex spot in the side deck. And then we've got triple copies of Cosmic, which I don't think I played against any trap decks today. But yeah, I think this card's like fine. Like you definitely want like back row removal like within your side deck. And then we got triple copies of the stupid card, 2 stupid cards to find the stupider card, and then I played like the other revolt as well, just so that if I open like Featherstorm and Trap Trick, I've got an option to use the Trap Trick for the revolt. So like these cards, so Griffin is a wing beast, so you can actually just flip this with Griffin on the field, and then your opponent is probably going to lose. I did this, I think I've resolved this twice today, and it just like ended the game both times. So yeah, this card's pretty cool. So yeah, that was my spicy Brave deck. I had a lot of fun playing with it. I do recommend anyone trying it, especially like if you already have the Brave cards. I recommend you trying it. I don't recommend you buying the Brave engine just to play this deck specifically. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and do check out our affiliate link, TCG Access, which will be in the description below. So yeah, thank you for watching.